his works, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's, you read the books. What would you say his contribution to Islamic civilization is? If you were to just narrow that down to 1 or 2 points, what would you say his contribution?
Actually, if we look at it from the perspective of him being a writer, an author. So, for example, somebody would write, let's suppose, in the field of Quranic exegesis. He did not produce any commentary on the Quran. He only actually reinterpreted selective verses to prove his case. That's not the work. That's self-interest. Secondly, second genre of Islamic literature is called to explain prophetic hadith, the Sunnah, right? He did not produce any such explanation of the Sunnah. Yes, he did misinterpret it, only those handful of ahadith which he wanted to use for his purpose. Let's move on. The third area is called Islamic jurisprudence, Islamic law, the practical things. He did not produce any work. The fourth area is, for example, the financial aspect. Adnan Bhai will agree with me that today for the practicing Muslims, especially living in the West, one of the biggest challenges to have an option to buy the house, there's no interest involved.
Yes.
That's the biggest challenge Muslims are facing. The practicing one,
mortgage, yeah.
practicing one cannot go to a traditional bank, for example, and some of them, they don't want to use even the Islamic option as well. They put a question mark on them. Now, what was the solution given by Mirza on this one? So what I'm trying to say is, literally, without being biased in any way, shape or form, be it solving a global problem of the Muslim Ummah, be it being a writer on the Islamic subjects, being, for example, adding something to Islamic as a civilization, there's nothing. So much so that whatever the work he produced has no literary beauty. It's a painstaking exercise even to read that. So even for example, somebody might say, oh, he's anti-Ahmadi, saying all of that. Okay. Just imagine if Mirza Ghulam Qadiani was not born, hypothetically speaking, what have you lost as a Muslim civilization?
It's a good question.
Nothing.
What do you think, Adnan, on that point?
On the point that
what Mirza added to
the Islamic civilization.
Yeah.
What did he bring?
Had it not been the birth of Mirza, what would you
I think what
did he
brought,
bring to Islam?
Yeah.
only harm, only confusion.
Did he bring any good?
I don't think so. I don't think he brought any good to
Did
the
you see
Muslim
any
civ-
good?
No.
Let me tell you, Declan, that the one thing they are just chanting day in, day out, they said that Mirza Ghulam Qadiani defended Islam in the British India. That's the one thing they want to just be proud about. Mirza Ghulam Qadiani's son, Mirza Bashir Ahmad M.A., he has written a biography of his dad, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani. It's called Siratul Mahdi, biography of the Mahdi. In this one, he says that Mirza Ghulam Qadiani has done 5 debates in his entire career. 2 with Muslims, which I can discuss, but it's a different topic.
Yeah.
1 with a Christian,
Yeah.
and 1 or 2 with a Hindu. But with the Christian, just 1, Abdullah Atham.
And
Now-
that was written.
And that's documented by Mirza himself.
You mentioned that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now the point is, even this one claim that Mirza was defending Islam, number 1, he lost the debate. What is the proof? The people who invited Mirza Ghulam Qadiani to debate on their behalf, they left Islam and became Christians. So then what was the result of the debate then? It's one point. Second point is, Declan, that they said that Mirza was defending Islam because at that time Hindus and Christians, they were saying all sort of bad things about our religion. Guess what? We have on record the famous Lekh Ram. Lekh Ram is a famous figure, okay, one of the opponent of Mirza from the Hindu community. Lekh Ram said on record, he said that Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is the reason for me to lift my pen against Islam. He said, had he not ridiculed and mocked our religion, I would not have said anything about Islam. So it's not that Mirza was defending Islam, Mirza was provoking the people to write against Islam.
Actually, a lot of scholars of Islam at the time claimed that Mirza was an agent provocateur. He was trying to provoke tension in India, possibly serving the colonial
Interest.
project, because the colonial rule in India was very brutal It
Would
was
he have been
very-
paid for that?
We don't know. Possibly. We have documents. We have writings. In his own, he is confessing to have received favors from the British government in India, in particular. Okay, he is asking for those favors categorically. He's reaching out to the colonial administrators, asking them for favors. This is documented. He is even invoking the services of his father and himself for the British colonial rule so that he can get those favors. He even mentions specifically that his father, during the Indian Mutiny in 1857, sent 50 cavaliers to support the colonial rule against his own countrymen. So his father was a traitor, and Mirza Ghulam al-Qadiani was also a traitor for praising his father as some sort of hero. Hero for the colonial rule, not for the Indian people. Because the Indian Mutiny in 1857 was a combined endeavor of Muslims and Hindus together. They came together and they fought against the British colonial rule because it was so oppressive, so bigoted, so unjust that they had to get rid of it, right? And the Qadianis, on the other hand, claim no, the British had brought peace to India. They had brought stability to India. They had brought economic prosperity to India. But this is all a lie. Because during the Mughal period, in the early 18th century, before the British came on the scene, in 1703, let's say, when the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb Alamgir died, the GDP of India was 23% of the global economic figure. Okay, 23% of global wealth was in India. When the British left in 1947, it was 4%.
Allah.
Okay, so India was bled dry systematically. The details are found in Shashi Tharoor's book, Inglorious Empire. He gives you systematic details documenting how the colonial rule in India impacted the economy and the people. Okay, how can a prophet of God ask for favors from such an entity? How can a prophet of God offer to spy for them? He published a form documenting the details of the people who are fostering ill feelings towards the colonial rule. He even called people who wanted to struggle against the colonial rule haramis. He called them bastards. These are bastards. And how do they respond when we bring this stuff out to them? Oh, your so-and-so scholar in India also said this. We say to them, we can throw this scholar on the wall. If any scholar in India praised the British colonial rule, there could be two reasons. Either he's bribed or he's in fear, which are both are human characteristics.
Yeah, but of course.
Greed and fear. It's either greed or
So
fear.
they can be quickly dismissed.
Yeah.
Here we're talking about
Exactly.
the alleged
Yes.
promised Messiah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and when we have
Oh,
statistics,
It's hardly,
No comparison.
a level playing
and
field,
when
is it?
Declan, when we have undisputed statistics, all academics are unanimous on those statistics that this was the outcome of the colonial rule in British India, right? When no one is disputing those statistics, what game are you playing?
And
why do you even try to bring this scholar and this person and that person also praised the British colonial rule? How does that justify the crimes of the British colonial rule? How does that justify a prophet of God working with such an entity?
And fighting with them.
Fighting with them, supporting them,
Because
giving them support,
information.
writing theological works to support them.
And Mirza Ghulam Qadiani said to the Queen Victoria on record, he said that my forefathers, they have shed their blood for your empire, and if the time comes, I will not leave any stone unturned either. Now, why are you pledging this level of loyalty to that colonizers? Why? Instead of giving an answer, oh, your scholar said the same thing. One. Secondly, the thing is that, as you said, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani was a Muslim, second coming of Jesus. He should be strengthening the case of Jesus. Guess what? Mirza Ghulam Qadiani has written extensively to prove. He said that the Jewish rejection of Jesus is justified.
And Jesus was a failure.
Yes.
Jesus was a trickster.
Yeah.
He used mesmerism.
His prophecies failed.
His prophecies failed. He failed in his mission.
Yeah.
He failed in his mission, and other insults.